Hey everyone, Artie and Stacy here from Xpedition Trailers, and we're on our way out to meet up with Bill and Deb from Coddiwomple Overland to spend the night with them and see how their trip's going in the Xpedition Voyager trailer.
Yeah, and this time we're kind of going back to our roots. We're taking the Gladiator out and we're rooftop tenting it.
Yeah.
I think I might be slightly jealous when I see them climb into the Voyager.
Yeah. So come along with us as we head across Utah and Wyoming to meet up with them and enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Ready for more adventures?
Let's go.
Woohoo!
We're here with Bill and Deb from Coddiwomple Overland, and we had the pleasure of meeting up with them on this awesome 4-week trip. Is that what it's going to be? Yeah, coming out to Wyoming. And so we thought we'd just take a few minutes and talk to them and see, just a little bit about their story and what has gotten them into overlanding, and maybe talk a little bit about the Voyager trailer. So thanks so much, guys, for inviting us, number one.
Thanks for coming and sharing this experience with us. It's been a tremendous experience, and to have you guys in the end of the trip hang out with us for a little while, it's definitely been icing on the cake. We appreciate it.
Well, this is cool. What a beautiful area to be at. We're in Wyoming.
Yeah, we're in the Medicine Bow National Forest in southeastern Wyoming. And this is kind of where we came through this early on, but we ran full circle around the state. This is where we ended up before we make our way back east.
Yeah.
You guys have covered a ton of this state. Lots of miles.
Yes, lots of miles.
Yeah, we're probably going to be in the neighborhood of inside Wyoming, right around 2,000 miles, or a little bit more within just over 3 weeks.
Yeah, wow. You could have seen more of Wyoming than a lot of people who lived here their whole life.
I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, this is so cool. I mean, what drew you to, the both of you, to the outdoors? Deb, I remember you talking a little bit about your horses.
Right. So I grew up in the horse industry. So we done boarding, breeding, breaking, training, guided trail rides, and part of that was I started with getting the kids into the 4-H, and we would take them out and travel with them, which then we were camping in horse trailers, so that's kind of how I started with the outdoors. And then
I've been involved in outdoors and off-road stuff ever since I can remember. I had my first dirt bike when I was 5 years old.
That's awesome.
There was, always a group in the neighborhood. We lived in a very rural part of eastern Kentucky. So we would pack up through the summer, stop at a local, general store, grab up some food and drinks, and head off to the hills. And we wouldn't come back out till the next day. So I guess we were overlanding on dirt bikes as I was 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
that progressed. I was a paramedic and still am. But one of the other jobs that I had, I got to turn my love for off-road and outdoors into a job, working for the Hatfield McCoy Trail System, and then ultimately starting my own business in trail construction and trail consulting. And that's where Deb and I actually met. And then we started doing that stuff together, still staying real in depth and involved in the off-road industry as a Novik rep and I was a test rider for ATV Sport Magazine for a while. So always had a great love for the outdoors.
Yeah.
But what Deb and I found, what got us into overlanding, was through the course of my emergency medical career, it found me working more and more. And we were spending less and less time together. We had a Jeep, had a conversation. We needed to start spending more time together. This was not the life that we wanted. We wanted to be together and doing things. So,
We understand that.
yeah. So we had the Jeep, started exploring some options with the Jeep, stumbled on overlanding by YouTube.
Okay.
And this is something we can do. This helps us disconnect from both of our stressful job, where she's a 911 dispatcher, and get out back to nature, what we both have loved since childhood. And that's where it all began.
Yeah.
So we started the channel just to chronicle our travels and
Send back to the kids.
to send back to the kids.
Yeah.
Share
But
with
people-
family. Yeah.
But people started liking and enjoying it, and it's been a whirlwind for the last 2.5 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
isn't
love
it?
that the origin is with family. That's
Yeah.
what got us doing it, and
Yeah.
those are the stories that we keep hearing. That it's just we want to share this with our family, whether it's actually outdoors or virtually.
Right.
Just
It's like I told you earlier, I just had my crying moment of,
Yeah.
we're never together anymore, because between the search and rescue and having the jobs that we have, it was like we were missing each other.
Yeah.
So we had to find that way to be able just to have time together again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that I've always said is people are now, they just live to work,
Yeah.
and there's so much more to life than just work.
Yeah.
It's not about how much money you can make or how many treasures you can accumulate. Time and experience is the things that really count.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you're into this lifestyle, right? Off-roading, overlanding. How does the trailer come into play? I mean, what drew you to
So
that?
we started out just like everybody else with a ground tent, and in one trip we decided that particular tent was not the way we wanted to go, so we upgraded to
another
a
tent.
Gazelle.
Right.
It too was a very good tent, but we knew that we wanted to do a rooftop tent. So that was the phase 3 of the
Iteration.
of the iteration of the growth. We did a soft shell rooftop tent for a little over a year and a half in the JK, and that worked very well. But we found our first long trip that up and down with a soft shell tent for
Yeah.
3 weeks
It was hard.
becomes a chore.
Yeah.
So when we got the Gladiator, we knew that we wanted a hard shell tent, and we learned a lot of things. We called the JK was our learning Jeep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Gladiator, we knew what we wanted. We knew how we wanted to set it up. And, Deb's able to get to everything around it by just opening a compartment or pulling out a slide and being able to get to it. When we were at Overland East last year at 21, trailers were not even on the scope. It wasn't even on the radar at all.
Yeah.
We were still enjoying, the honeymoon phase with Gladiator. And, but we walked by the Xpedition Voyager.
I was like, if we ever
And
pull a
she said-
trailer, this is the one I want. And it was the kitchen, honestly, that pulled me to it. I was like, oh, I love that kitchen.
Yeah, so, we spoke with you then, and then after that we spoke with Lauren and Jeremy and have had the opportunity to try one of these out, and we couldn't be happier with it.
It's amazing.
By walking by that, spending some time talking to you at Expo East, Lauren giving us a call, when the fairy tale of us trying these trailers out is over with Lauren, it's going to cost me about 50 grand.
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I have to have this.
So tell us a little bit about this trip that you've been on. I mean, what have you put it through?
So, go ahead.
Oh gosh, we've been everywhere. Some of the places that we've actually had went, I was like, oh, I don't know about that, Bill. Because we've been in everything from rocky terrain to tight woods. We've been through water crossings. We've taken it everywhere. And it's amazing that even when I was driving it, I was like, and sometimes I don't pick the correct line, like we were talking earlier, and I was like, oh no, because I got a little off camber, had some really big ruts, and it was just like he was flying the drone, and he's like, just turn downhill, you're fine. And it just followed us right out, and it was perfect. It was great. It's amazing, the suspension on it. It's amazing.
Deb, I hear you have a knack for picking really good trails.
I go by, that's really pretty, so I pull out Google Earth and I'm like, oh, look at those colors of the
Look at all the
rocks.
colors around.
And that's kind of how I pick the trails, and sometimes they're really, really bad. I'll spend once back in the camper.
I hear
because-
really exciting
Yeah.
would be a better
Yeah.
word. As opposed to really bad, really exciting.
Yeah, it's sometimes
They turn out to be
don't
really
like
good.
it.
Yeah, yeah. And the one I did pick, we ended up stuck and had to be winched out. So
Oh.
it's been great.
So we're currently on day 24. We started this expedition from Kentucky, where we went down to Knoxville, Tennessee, to the grand opening of Xgrid's new Knoxville store, and from there we made our way west to Wyoming, and we have hit every national forest in Wyoming. And most of the national parks, with the exception of Yellowstone. We didn't do Yellowstone just because of the film.
We hit it right at 4th of July weekend, and it was very, very crowded. And so we opted to bypass that. And we're like, we'll hit that again when we come back through.
Yeah. But we've made the complete loop from the Bridger-Teton National Forest to Shoshone National Forest, through the Badlands, over the Bighorns, and now with you guys at Medicine Bow. So we've done the full circle of Wyoming.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How
And
cool.
this trailer is it's been great. We've done the rooftop tent. We really enjoyed that, but pulling a trailer is an absolute game changer, especially with the ease of, it being raining and being able to just jump out of the truck and jump into the trailer. That has been a whirlwind, so much easier. Deb can cook up something really quick and be able to put things back
Yeah.
in no time, and that gives her the extra opportunity to be able to sit around like we're doing right now and enjoy camp instead of laboring
That's the best part.
through prepping and cleaning up everything and trying to put things back where it belongs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great.
Has the
for that.
trailer hindered you in any ways? Because you've got this really nice Gladiator that you can just go anywhere. Have you felt?
I've not. Trailers you have to watch. You have to drive sometimes with your rearview mirrors to make sure that you clear things. I've hauled trailers in one manner or another for most of my adult life, or all of my adult life actually. So it's just one of those things that's second nature to me. But as far as pulling this trailer, you just got to give a little wider berth sometimes, and even in the tight stuff, we didn't really have any problems. And I'm not going to say we didn't have to stop and maybe trim a couple edges of something, a log that was sticking out or something. We had to do a couple things like that. But for the most part, anywhere that I could take that Gladiator, pulling that trailer is not an issue.
That's awesome.
And and I contribute that to the aircraft engineering that Artie put into to the frame, and it's allowed to flex without cracking or breaking.
Yeah.
And the suspension that you have put under there, the proprietary suspension of yours, is unbelievable. I kept getting comments for everybody behind us of how they couldn't believe how smooth it was. We had candles and a Coke sitting inside and spent a whole day in there, and it never turned over. It was in the same spot it was.
And when I opened the door, I was like, oh, good thing that didn't turn over. But I actually was like, Joe, come here and look at this, because nobody will believe me that Coke stayed on that shelf
after what you had just gone through.
Yes. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Share with us, like, what do you think was the craziest thing that you went through, or the craziest obstacle that you went through?
There was a trail here in Medicine Bow. It was on the MVUM map, open to high clearance 4-wheel drive, so we were on a legal trail.
Yeah.
But there had been a logging operation that had been happening in that area.
It was all the way at the top.
And there was
of the
a lot of the downed pine trees and things like that. Well, it was obvious that whoever had came through there and cleared it was in a side-by-side of some type. So, so the cut throughs were very narrow.
Yeah.
And it took us 3 hours to get through a mile of trail. So we
can relate.
literally crawling through that. And at one point I had gotten over to try to get around a tree, and we slid one of the tires off of the edge of the mountain on the trailer. And I was just able to, just give it a little twist, and it righted itself right back onto the trail.
Ooh, wow.
So that was probably the hairiest thing. The only time that the trailer hindered us, we did hit a mud bog in the Bighorns, and we had made it through, but there was a lot of the big round rocks that are historic to the Bighorns.
Yeah.
And it was kind of covered in the mud, and it caught right at the front of the trailing arm.
Okay.
On the trailer. And it just one of those freak things that just stopped me dead. But at that point we were in that bog so deep that we couldn't go back or forward. Ended up Matt got around us and winched us out, but that was the only time, and it was just a fluke thing. If my line would have been 6 inches one way or the other, would have never happened.
Yeah. Well, those things happen, right?
Yeah. That's part of off-road, and it's part of the adventure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you want your equipment to not fail you, right? Because nothing can be perfect, but having confidence in what you have, right? Whatever that might be, right? Whether it's a trailer or your shoes or whatever. I mean, any kind of gear that you have, important that you have the best. I mean, what you have confidence in using. And,
we had the deep ravines that we went through. There were places that the bumper drug on the Gladiator, and it sits on 37.
Yeah.
And the trailer did.
And when we came through, the rear approach angle of the trailer never touched.
Easy.
So it's been incredible. I cannot wait to spend some more time in this unit on the East Coast, where the trees are and where people say, well, you can't wheel, you can't wheel with the trailer in the East Coast. You can, because we've been through some very tight stuff here in Wyoming. There's trees in Wyoming as well.
Oh yeah.
And you can carry that back to the East Coast, and I guarantee you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you guys have done such a phenomenal job on the East Coast of overlanding. I mean, it's difficult out there, and it's been so incredible to watch what you've done.
Thank you.
And all that you've accomplished out there. Could you tell us how to
so you
follow
can
you guys and
find us on YouTube at Coddiwomple Overland. We're also on Facebook. Just do a search for Coddiwomple Overland as well, and the same as Instagram. So we're on those 3 medias, and that's more than enough that I can handle, or Dave can handle.
or
So,
want to
but we it's been a whirlwind for the last 2 years. We're amazed at how fast it's grown. It was never intended to grow as a, YouTube channel like this, and we're just elated that it did.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for building such an awesome trailer, awesome piece of
Yes,
equipment,
it's-
and allowing us the opportunity to come spend some time in it.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Yeah.
been amazing. I had told Bill that I think this is the most relaxed I've ever been on a trip, and I credit that to having the camper because it's just so easy to get up and do things, or just to go to bed and you just shut stuff up, and it's been amazing. It's been wonderful. I don't know if I want to go back to rooftop tent.
If anybody is on the fence about whether a
Yeah.
trailer is a usable or a good addition, it absolutely is. Don't let pulling something think it's going to hinder you, because 99% of the trails that you're already doing in your vehicle, you can absolutely do with a trailer.
Well, thank you for your kind words. We certainly put our heart and soul into what we do, and love to see that people can get out more easily because of what we're trying to do, of our efforts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
thanks so
Thank you.
much, and keep doing what you're doing.
All right.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.